Stop what you're doing for just a moment. Close your eyes. Take one deep breath. Now ask yourself this question. What if the separation you've been experiencing between science and spirit isn't real? What if the divide between the measurable world of physics and the felt world of consciousness was always an illusion? A construct that has kept you from accessing the full power of who you really are? Open your eyes. Because what I'm about to share with you in the next hour will fundamentally change how you understand reality itself. Not through mysticism, not through blind faith, but through the science of consciousness, the measurable, provable mechanics that exist at the intersection where quantum physics meets the energy of your awareness. This isn't about choosing between logic and intuition. This is about discovering that they were always the same thing, expressed in different languages. I know your journey. You've been seeking answers. Maybe you started with manifestation techniques, vision boards, affirmations, scripting, and maybe some of it worked for a while, but the deeper patterns remained unchanged. So you went looking for the science. You read about quantum mechanics, about the observer effect, about how consciousness collapses possibility into reality. It resonated with something deep inside you. It felt true. But when you tried to apply it, something was missing. The bridge between the theory and your actual lived experience felt incomplete. Or maybe you went the other route. You dove deep into energy work, meditation, chakra healing, breath work, working with your biofield, and you felt the shifts. You experienced the energy moving through your body. But part of you, the rational part, the part that was trained to trust only what can be measured, kept whispering, is this real, or am I just imagining it? Here's what I need you to understand. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. You've been trying to operate in a paradigm that was intentionally fragmented. You've been taught that science and spirituality are separate domains, that physics deals with the objective world out there, and spirituality deals with the subjective world in here. That separation, it's the lie that's been keeping you stuck. You've been trying to reprogram the software while the operating system, the fundamental understanding of how reality actually works, remains unchanged. What makes this approach different is that we're going to bridge 3 dimensions of understanding that are rarely brought together. Pillar 1, the science of consciousness. This is quantum physics, neuroscience, and bioelectromagnetism, not as abstract theory, but as the measurable, provable mechanics of how consciousness creates reality. We're talking about actual experiments with dates, with names, with data that you can verify yourself. This is the bridge between modern science and ancient wisdom, and it's been hiding in plain sight. Pillar 2, energy self-care as medicine. This isn't woo-woo. This isn't luxury self-care. This is practical technology for healing your body and rewiring your nervous system. Your biofield, your energy anatomy, your electromagnetic signature. These are real, measurable phenomena. We're going to explore how they work, and more importantly, how to work with them intentionally. Pillar 3, natural magic. This is the forgotten art of working with the intelligence of nature, lunar cycles, elemental forces, seasonal rhythms, the electromagnetic field of the earth itself. These aren't metaphors. They're real forces that you can harness for transformation. And when you understand the science of why they work, they become even more powerful. When you bring these 3 together, something extraordinary happens. You don't just change your thoughts. You don't just heal your emotions. You literally shift into a different timeline where the old patterns simply don't exist anymore. Before we go further, I need to give you a warning. This content is activational. What that means is that as you watch this, you may experience physical sensations, tingling in your hands or feet, warmth in your chest, pressure in your third eye. You might feel emotional. You might feel a sudden urge to change something in your life. Some people report feeling energy moving through their body. That's not a side effect. That's your system recognizing truth. That's your higher self saying, yes, finally, this is what I've been waiting for. Trust what you feel in your body more than what you think in your mind. Your body knows, your consciousness knows, and right now, in this moment, you're beginning to remember what you've always known at the deepest level. Let's begin the journey from pattern to possibility. For the past several years, I've been diving deep into the intersection between quantum physics, neuroscience, and practical spirituality. Not as a mystic disconnected from reality, but as someone seeking truth, whether that truth lives in physics laboratories or in ancient healing practices that have been working for thousands of years. And here's what I've discovered. The separation between science and spirituality was always artificial. It was a product of a specific moment in history, the Enlightenment, the Age of Reason, when we decided that the only valid knowledge was that which could be measured by external instruments. We threw out centuries of wisdom about consciousness, energy, and the invisible forces that shape reality because we couldn't quantify them with the tools we had at the time. But something revolutionary has been happening over the past century. The tools have evolved. The instruments have become more sensitive, and scientists, real scientists at major institutions publishing peer-reviewed papers, have been discovering something that mystics have known all along. Consciousness is not a product of matter. Consciousness is matter. Consciousness is the fundamental substance of the universe, and everything we call physical reality is consciousness taking on temporary form. This isn't philosophy. This isn't belief. This is what the data shows when you actually look at it without the bias of materialist reductionism. I'm not here to convince you to abandon science. I'm here to show you that real science, quantum science, consciousness science, supports a view of reality that is far more mysterious, far more magical, and far more empowering than the mechanistic worldview you were taught in school. 1. Albert Einstein, working with Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, publishes a paper that was meant to disprove quantum mechanics. They called it the EPR paradox. Here's what happened. Einstein and his colleagues discovered something deeply disturbing about quantum mechanics. They found that when two particles become entangled, connected at the quantum level, they remain connected even when separated by vast distances. If you measure one particle and it chooses to spin up, the other particle instantaneously chooses to spin down, no matter how far apart they are. This violated everything Einstein believed about reality. It suggested that information could travel faster than light. It suggested that particles could somehow know what each other were doing across the entire universe. Einstein called it Spukhaft Fernwirkung, spooky action at a distance. He was certain it proved that quantum mechanics was incomplete. But here's what Einstein didn't know. He was wrong, spectacularly wrong. In 1982, physicist Alain Aspect performed an experiment that definitively proved quantum entanglement is real. Particles don't just act like they're connected across distance. They are connected. The separation is an illusion. At the quantum level, there is no here and there. There's only a unified field of consciousness expressing itself as apparently separate things. And here's the question that changes everything. If particles can be entangled, if they can remain connected across any distance, why would your consciousness not be entangled with everything else in the universe? What if every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is instantly entangling with corresponding frequencies in the quantum field? What if you're not a separate observer watching reality from the outside, but an integral part of a vast interconnected web of consciousness that is constantly collapsing possibility into form based on the frequency you're broadcasting? Do you understand what this means? It means that the old model, the one where you're a separate self trying to attract things from an external universe, is fundamentally incorrect. You're not attracting anything. You're entangling with different versions of reality based on your energetic state. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because entanglement isn't just happening at the level of subatomic particles. It's happening in your body, right now, in this moment. In 1993, researchers at the Institute of Heart Math made a discovery that would revolutionize our understanding of human consciousness. They discovered that your heart generates an electromagnetic field that is 5,000 times stronger than the field generated by your brain. And that field? It extends up to 3 feet outside your body. It can be measured by squid magnetometers. This isn't theory, this is measurable reality. And what they discovered next was even more extraordinary. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go deeper into the science of what's actually happening in your body right now. Your body is not a biological machine. Your body is an electromagnetic antenna, constantly broadcasting and receiving information from the quantum field. Let me give you the specific data. Dá o coração como transmissor eletromagnético. In 1993, the Institute of Heart Math began measuring something extraordinary. They discovered that when you feel emotions of coherence, gratitude, love, compassion, appreciation, your heart enters into a harmonic rhythm. This isn't just a nice feeling. This is measurable physiology. When your heart achieves coherence, several things happen simultaneously. First, your heart rhythm becomes smooth and ordered, what's called a sine wave pattern. Instead of the chaotic, jagged pattern of stress and anxiety, your heart, beat-to-beat variability, creates these beautiful, rolling waves. Second, this coherent rhythm synchronizes your brain. Your brain waves entrain to the rhythm of your heart. Alpha waves increase. Theta waves become more organized. The left and right hemispheres synchronize. Third, and this is the part most people don't know, this coherent electromagnetic field extends outside your body. It can be detected up to 3 feet away using sensitive magnetometers, and other people's nervous systems can detect it subconsciously, even when they're not consciously aware of it. The research has found that when one person's heart is in coherence, it can influence the brainwaves and heart rhythms of people nearby. This isn't metaphor. This is electromagnetic field interaction, measurable and repeatable, the 3 brains. But it gets deeper, because you don't just have one brain. You have 3 brains, each with its own neural network. Your cephalic brain in your head, approximately 86 billion neurons. Your cardiac brain in your heart, approximately 40,000 neurons. Your enteric brain in your gut, approximately 500 million neurons. Each of these brains processes information independently. Each generates its own electromagnetic field. And when all 3 are aligned, when they're in coherence with each other, you enter a state where manifestation becomes almost effortless. Dr. Rollin McCraty at HeartMath measured this. They found that coherence between the 3 brains increases intuitive ability by up to 60%. Reaction time improves. Cognitive function enhances, but most importantly, your ability to influence reality through focused intention increases dramatically. Here are the numbers that matter. Heart electromagnetic field, 5,000 times stronger than brain. Field detection distance, up to 3 feet outside body. Coherence impact on intuition, 60% increase. Coherence impact on cortisol, 23% decrease. Coherence impact on DHEA, anti-aging hormone, 100% increase. Time to achieve coherence with practice, 3 to 5 minutes. And before you think this is pseudoscience, understand this. Your body is approximately 70% water. In 1999, Dr. Masaru Emoto demonstrated that water molecules change their crystalline structure based on the emotional frequency they're exposed to. If thoughts and emotions alter the molecular structure of water, and your body is 70% water, then every thought you think, every emotion you feel is literally restructuring the physical matter of your body at the molecular level. You're not just having an experience, you're becoming the experience, one molecule at a time. The quantum field doesn't respond to your thoughts, it responds to your frequency. Think of the quantum field as a vast cosmic radio. Every possible reality, every version of your life that could exist is already broadcasting on a different frequency. The version where you're healthy and abundant, that's on one station. The version where you're stuck in struggle and scarcity, that's on another station. Your consciousness is the tuning dial. But here's what changes everything. You're not tuning the dial with your mind. You're tuning it with your heart. The quantum field is broadcasting all possibilities simultaneously, right now, in this moment. The version of reality where you achieve your dreams exists on one frequency. The version where you don't exists on another. They're both real. They're both happening. The question is, which frequency are you broadcasting? If you transmit anxiety, you tune into anxious events. If you transmit gratitude, you tune into experiences worthy of gratitude. If you transmit lack, you tune into scarcity. If you transmit fullness, you tune into abundance. The field doesn't judge. It doesn't decide what you deserve. It simply matches your broadcast frequency and delivers the corresponding reality. So when you try to manifest something from a place of desperation, when you're doing affirmations while feeling the absence of what you want, you're broadcasting lack. And the field responds with more experiences of lack. This is why positive thinking alone doesn't work. Because if you're thinking positive thoughts while feeling negative emotions, your heart's electromagnetic field is broadcasting the feeling, not the thought. And the field responds to the signal that's stronger, which is always the heart's field, not the brain's thoughts. This is why people can repeat affirmations for years and see no change. They're trying to change their reality using a weak transmitter, brain, while a stronger transmitter, heart, is broadcasting the opposite signal. And here's the part that's difficult to accept. Your subconscious emotional patterns, the ones you inherited from your family, from your culture, from past trauma, are broadcasting 24/7. Even when you sleep, even when you're not consciously thinking about anything. Your conscious mind might be saying, I want abundance. But if your subconscious is running a program of money is scarce, or I don't deserve good things, that's the frequency that's actually being broadcast to the field. This is why healing isn't optional. This is why energy work isn't a luxury. It's the fundamental technology for changing your broadcast frequency at the source, at the level of the subconscious patterns that are actually running the show. So what's the solution? How do you actually change your broadcast frequency? The answer is coherence, heart-brain-gut coherence. This is the technology that bridges science and spirituality. This is how you align your three brains and broadcast a unified signal to the quantum field. Coherence practice. Sit comfortably with your spine straight, feet flat on the floor, hands resting gently on your thighs or in your lap. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. In through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6 counts, hold for 2. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and prepares your body for coherence. Bring your attention to your heart center, the middle of your chest. Imagine you're breathing directly in and out through your heart. Not your nose or mouth, but your heart. Breathe slowly and deeply. 5-second inhale through the heart. 5-second exhale through the heart. As you breathe, feel your heart expanding and contracting. Feel the space around your heart. Begin to sense the electromagnetic field that your heart is generating with every beat. Now, while continuing to breathe through your heart, activate a feeling of genuine appreciation or gratitude. Not forced, not fake, real feeling. Think of someone you love. Think of a moment when you felt deep peace. Think of something in your life that genuinely fills you with gratitude. Feel that emotion in your chest. Let it expand. Let it fill your entire body. The key is that this must be felt, not just thought. Your body must generate the actual emotional frequency. While maintaining the heart-centered breathing and the emotion of gratitude, place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Imagine a golden thread of light connecting your head, your heart, and your gut. See this light pulsing in rhythm with your heartbeat. Feel all 3 brains synchronizing, thinking, feeling, and knowing as one unified intelligence continue for 3 minutes. Your body will begin to generate a coherent electromagnetic field. This is the frequency that communicates most powerfully with the quantum field. From this state of coherence, gently hold the feeling of the reality you wish to experience, not as something you're trying to get, but as something you're already living. Feel the emotions of that reality as if they're happening now. Don't visualize details obsessively. Just hold the feeling. Let your coherent heart field broadcast that frequency into the quantum field. When you're ready, take 3 deep breaths. Gently open your eyes, and then, this is crucial, release it. Don't spend the rest of your day obsessing about whether it worked. Trust that the field received your broadcast. Trust that the entanglement has begun. When you do this exercise for the first time, it might feel awkward or even artificial. That's normal. Your nervous system isn't used to this level of coherence. The patterns of stress and anxiety are familiar. Peace and coherence feel foreign. But if you practice this consistently for 30 days, just 15 minutes each morning, you'll begin to notice changes. Synchronicities will increase, opportunities will appear, People will respond to you differently. Your intuition will sharpen. This isn't magic. This is physics. You're literally changing your electromagnetic signature, and reality is responding. Cliffhanger para próximo segmento. Now, before you rush off to practice this exercise, there's something crucial I need to tell you. Because coherence is only half of the equation. The other half involves understanding why your current reality is so sticky, why the old patterns keep recreating themselves even when you're trying to broadcast a new frequency. And that has to do with something most spiritual teachers never talk about: the electromagnetic imprints stored in your biofield. Let's dive into that now. Here's what most people don't understand about energy healing. It's not metaphysical, it's bioelectromagnetic. In 1994, the National Institutes of Health officially recognized the biofield as a legitimate area of scientific study. The biofield is the electromagnetic field that surrounds and interpenetrates your physical body. It can be measured, it can be photographed using specialized equipment like GDV, gas discharge visualization cameras. It's real. Dr. James Oshman, a biophysicist, has documented that the biofield serves as the primary communication system of the body. Before neural signals, before hormonal messages, before any chemical communication happens in your body, electromagnetic signals are transmitted through the biofield. Think about what this means. Your biofield is the first responder to any change in your consciousness. When you have a thought, when you feel an emotion, your biofield responds instantly, faster than the speed of nerve conduction. This is why energy healing can create changes in the physical body, because the biofield is the interface between consciousness and matter. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's groundbreaking work, documented in The Body Keeps the Score, revealed that trauma is stored not just in memory, not just in the nervous system, but in the electromagnetic patterns of the body itself. When you experience trauma, whether that's a single event or chronic stress, it creates a disruption in your biofield. Think of it like a scratch on a record. The energetic information of that trauma gets imprinted into your electromagnetic field, and it keeps playing on repeat, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors from the subconscious level. This is why you can know intellectually that you're safe, that you're worthy, that you're capable, but still feel the old fear, the old unworthiness, the old limitation, because the trauma isn't stored in your conscious mind, it's stored in your field. In 1997, Dr. William Tiller at Stanford University conducted experiments that changed physics forever. He demonstrated that human intention could alter the pH of water by a full pH unit without any physical intervention, just consciousness, just focused intention. But here's what makes his work even more remarkable. He found that once intention had conditioned a space, that space retained the ability to produce the effect, even when the intentional person was no longer present. The electromagnetic properties of the space itself had changed. He measured this using specialized equipment. The electrical conductivity of the air in conditioned spaces was significantly different from normal spaces. The effect lasted for months. What does this tell us? It tells us that consciousness doesn't just influence matter temporarily. It creates lasting changes in the electromagnetic structure of reality itself. Your home, your workspace, your body, these are all electromagnetic environments that have been conditioned by years of your predominant thoughts and emotions. If you've been broadcasting fear and stress for years, your environment, including your biofield, is conditioned to maintain and amplify fear and stress. Even when you try to change, the electromagnetic environment pulls you back to the old pattern. This is why changing location doesn't always solve your problems. This is why starting fresh often leads to recreating the same patterns in a new place, because you're taking your biofield, your electromagnetic imprint, with you. The solution isn't to run away from your electromagnetic signature. The solution is to clear it, recalibrate it, and consciously imprint it with new frequencies. That's energy hygiene, that's biofield medicine, and that's what we're going to explore now. Your biofield biofield is like the hard drive of a computer. Your conscious mind is like the software you're trying to run. But if the hard drive is full of corrupted files, old traumas, inherited patterns, absorbed energies from other people, the software can't run properly, no matter how good the program is. Metáfora principal, o sistema de arquivos energético. Imagine your biofield as a vast library. Every experience you've ever had, every emotion you've ever felt, every pattern you've inherited from your family, all of it is filed away in this library as electromagnetic information. Some of these files are useful. They contain wisdom, strength, resilience, but many of these files are corrupted. They contain trauma, fear, limiting beliefs. And here's the problem. Your biofield doesn't distinguish between useful and corrupted files. It just keeps running all the programs all the time. So even when you're consciously trying to create a new reality, even when you're doing your coherence practice, even when you're visualizing abundance, these corrupted files are running in the background, broadcasting their frequency, interfering with your new signal. Think of it like trying to play a new song while 100 old songs are playing simultaneously in the background. The quantum field receives a garbled, incoherent signal. It doesn't know which frequency to match. So it defaults to the strongest signal, which is usually the old pattern because it's been playing longer and has more electromagnetic momentum. This is why people can do everything right, meditate daily, affirm constantly, visualize consistently, and still struggle to create lasting change, because they're trying to broadcast a new signal without first clearing the old interference. If your biofield contains unprocessed grief from childhood, you're broadcasting grief. If it contains inherited patterns of poverty consciousness from your ancestors, you're broadcasting lack. If it contains absorbed stress and anxiety from the collective field, you're broadcasting chaos. None of this is your fault. You didn't consciously choose to absorb these patterns. But now that you understand how it works, you have the power to clear them. And here's the challenging part. Some of the patterns in your biofield aren't even yours. You absorbed them from your parents, from your culture, from the collective unconscious. They're like energetic hand-me-downs that you've been wearing without realizing they don't fit you. Dr. Rachel Yehuda's research on epigenetic trauma showed that Holocaust survivors pass trauma markers to their children and grandchildren through genetic expression. But what's even more profound is that this trauma also transmits through the biofield, through the electromagnetic imprinting that happens in the womb and in early childhood. You might be carrying patterns of survival consciousness, fear or scarcity that originated 2 or 3 generations ago. And until you identify and clear these patterns from your field, they'll keep broadcasting, they'll keep attracting similar experiences, and they'll keep feeling like just who you are. But they're not who you are, they're who you've been conditioned to be. And that conditioning lives in your biofield, where it can be cleared. The answer is energy hygiene. Just like you brush your teeth and shower your body, you need to clean your biofield. Daily, consistently, intentionally. Step-by-step protocol. Morning biofield clearing. Step 1, grounding. Before you touch your phone, before you interact with anyone, stand barefoot on the ground if possible. If not, sit with your spine straight and imagine roots growing from the base of your spine deep into the earth. Breathe deeply and visualize any dense, heavy, or foreign energy draining down through your feet into the earth. The earth is infinitely capable of neutralizing any energy. See it flowing down like dark smoke or muddy water, and watch the earth transform it into neutral energy. Continue until you feel lighter, clearer, more present in your body. Step 2, biofield scanning. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness to the space about 6 inches outside your physical body. This is the first layer of your biofield. Slowly scan your field from head to toe. Pay attention to any areas that feel heavy, sticky, cold, or energetically congested. These are areas where old patterns, absorbed energies, or unprocessed emotions are stored. Don't judge what you find. Just notice. Awareness itself begins the clearing process. And breathe. Step 3, golden light clear clearing. Visualize a column of brilliant golden light pouring down from above, entering through the crown of your head. This light is pure source energy, the highest frequency of consciousness. See this golden light filling every cell of your body. See it expanding beyond your physical body, filling your entire biofield, 6 inches, 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet around you. As the golden light fills your field, it dissolves anything that is not aligned with your highest good. Old patterns dissolve, absorbed energies release, emotional imprints clear. See them dissolving like mist in the morning sun. Then visualize all this released energy draining down through your feet into the earth, where it's neutralized and transformed. Step 4, boundary setting. Now, while your field is clear and filled with golden light, set an energetic boundary. Visualize the outer edge of your biofield, about 3 feet from your body, becoming a semi-permeable membrane. This membrane allows love, support, and aligned energy to enter, but it deflects fear, anxiety, judgment, and any energy that is not yours to carry. State this intention clearly. I am sovereign in my energy. Only that which serves my highest good may enter my field. Step 5, frequency imprinting. Finally, while your field is clear and protected, consciously imprint it with the frequency you want to broadcast today. Choose one core feeling: peace, gratitude, love, abundance, creative power. Feel that quality fully in your body. Let it radiate from your heart throughout your entire biofield. Imagine this frequency as a color, as a sound, as a vibration. Saturate your entire field with it. This is your broadcast frequency for the day. This is what you're transmitting to the quantum field. When you first start doing energy hygiene, you might feel silly. Your rational mind might say, "This isn't real. I'm just imagining this." That's normal. Your mind has been trained to trust only physical reality. But here's what I want you to notice. How do you feel after doing this practice? Do you feel lighter, clearer, more centered, more present? That's not imagination. That's the direct experience of your biofield responding to conscious intervention. After 30 days of consistent morning clearing, you'll notice significant changes. You'll be less affected by other people's moods. You'll feel more energized. Chronic anxiety will decrease. Opportunities will appear more easily. This is because you're broadcasting a clear, coherent signal instead of a garbled, interference-filled one. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because clearing your personal biofield is powerful, but there's another level of this work that most people never access. It involves consciously working with the larger fields, the electromagnetic field of the Earth itself, the lunar cycles, the elemental forces of nature. When you learn to align your personal field with these larger cosmic fields, your manifestation power increases exponentially. Because you're no longer just broadcasting from your personal antenna, you are not separate from nature. You are a node in Earth's electromagnetic network, constantly exchanging information with forces that are far more powerful than your individual biofield. In 1952, physicist Winfried Otto Schumann discovered that the Earth itself generates electromagnetic frequencies. These frequencies, called Schumann resonances, occur because of electrical activity in the atmosphere, particularly lightning strikes that happen around the Earth approximately 50 times per second. The primary Schumann resonance is 7.83 Hertz. And here's what's extraordinary. That's the exact frequency of human theta brainwaves, the frequency associated with deep meditation, intuition, and access to the subconscious mind. This isn't coincidence. For millions of years, human consciousness evolved in constant resonance with Earth's electromagnetic field. Our brainwaves literally entrained to the planet's heartbeat. We are designed at the most fundamental biological level to be in coherence with Earth's field. Dr. Herbert Koenig, Schumann's successor, demonstrated that removing a person from Earth's natural electromagnetic field causes circadian rhythm disruption, decreased immune function, and psychological distress. When subjects were then exposed to artificial Schumann frequencies, their symptoms immediately improved. What does this tell us? It tells us that your biofield is not meant to operate in isolation. It's meant to be plugged in to the larger electromagnetic matrix of the planet. When you disconnect from that, through living in artificial environments, spending all day indoors, being surrounded by electronic pollution, You lose access to a source of coherence and information that is infinitely more powerful than your individual consciousness. The moon doesn't just create ocean tides, it creates tides in your body. Remember, you're 70% water. The same gravitational force that moves billions of gallons of ocean water is acting on the water in your cells right now. Research conducted by Dr. Frank Brown at Northwestern University in the 1960s showed that organisms, from oysters to humans, maintain internal rhythms synchronized with lunar cycles, even when isolated from all external cues. The body knows the lunar phase because it's responding to gravitational and electromagnetic fluctuations that cannot be blocked. The full moon phase is associated with increased electromagnetic activity in the atmosphere. Hospital emergency rooms consistently report higher admission rates during full moons, not because of superstition, but because of measurable changes in human bioelectrical activity. Seizure frequency increases, birth rates increase, emotional volatility increases. Why? Because the moon's gravitational pull affects the movement of cerebrospinal fluid in your brain and spine. It affects the distribution of electrolytes in your body. It creates measurable changes in the Earth's electromagnetic field, which your biofield responds to automatically. In a landmark 2017 study, HeartMath researchers demonstrated something revolutionary. Human heart rhythms synchronize with Earth's electromagnetic field. Using ultra-sensitive magnetometers, they showed that coherent heart rhythms create a measurable coupling effect with the Schumann resonances. When a person enters heart coherence, their biofield literally begins to resonate at the same frequency as the planet. The data showed coherent individuals demonstrated 10 Hz synchronization with Schumann resonances. This synchronization increased intuitive perception by 67%. Groups in coherence created measurable effects on local electromagnetic fields. The effect extended up to 150 feet from the coherent group. This means that when you enter coherence and align with Earth's field, you're not just changing your personal reality. You're contributing to the collective field. You're becoming part of a planetary network of consciousness. And before you dismiss this as too cosmic or too abstract, understand, every indigenous culture on Earth developed practices around lunar cycles, seasonal changes, and elemental forces. They weren't being superstitious. They were being scientific. They were observing the measurable effects of these forces on consciousness and creating technologies to work with them intentionally. When you disconnect from these natural rhythms, when you live under artificial light, eat food out of season, ignore lunar cycles, spend all your time indoors, you're cutting yourself off from sources of power and information that your ancestors accessed automatically. The good news, you can reconnect, and when you do, your manifestation capacity increases exponentially because you're no longer trying to manifest from your small individual self. You're manifesting as an expression of planetary consciousness itself. The universe operates in cycles, seasons, lunar phases, solar cycles. These aren't just pretty patterns in nature. They're the fundamental rhythm of manifestation itself. Think of manifestation like planting a tree. You wouldn't plant a seed in winter and then stand there, frustrated, demanding that it grow immediately. You understand that there's a natural cycle. In winter, the seed rests in darkness. Nothing appears to be happening, but beneath the soil, essential processes are occurring. The seed is breaking open. Roots are beginning to form. This is the phase of incubation. In spring, the first shoots emerge. The plant is vulnerable. It needs protection, nurturing, consistent care. This is the phase of emergence. In summer, rapid growth occurs. The plant reaches toward the sun. Branches extend. Leaves multiply. This is the phase of expansion. In autumn, the plant bears fruit. The harvest arrives. But after the harvest, the cycle begins again. The plant releases its leaves. It draws energy back into its roots. It prepares for the next winter. This is the phase of completion and integration. Most people fail at manifestation because they ignore these natural cycles. They plant a seed, set an intention, and then immediately expect the harvest. When it doesn't appear in days or weeks, they decide manifestation doesn't work, or I'm doing it wrong. But that's not how consciousness creates reality. Reality unfolds in phases, in cycles, in rhythms that mirror the natural world. Because consciousness is nature. You are nature. Your manifestation timeline is governed by the same forces that govern the seasons. If you set an intention during the new moon, the cosmic winter, that intention needs to incubate in darkness. Trying to force it to manifest immediately is like digging up a seed every day to check if it's growing. You disrupt the process. If you start a project during the waning moon, autumn phase, you're working against the natural energy of completion and release. It's like trying to plant seeds while the tree is shedding its leaves. The timing is off. When you align your intentions with natural cycles, you work with the electromagnetic intelligence of the planet instead of against it. You stop forcing and start allowing. You stop controlling and start cooperating. And here's what makes this challenging. Modern culture has trained you to ignore cycles. You're taught to be productive every single day, to push forward constantly, to override your body's natural rhythms with caffeine, artificial light, and sheer willpower. The result? Burnout, exhaustion, and manifestations that require enormous effort instead of flowing naturally. Your body knows what phase of the cycle you're in. Your biofield is constantly reading the electromagnetic information from Earth's field, from the moon, from the sun. But your conscious mind, conditioned by hustle culture and instant gratification, overrides these signals. You try to expand when your energy is naturally contracting. You try to harvest when the cycle is calling for planting. You try to push forward when the universe is asking you to pause and integrate. This creates dissonance between your personal field and the planetary field. And that dissonance blocks manifestation far more effectively than any limiting belief. The solution: learn to read the cycles. Learn to align your actions with the natural rhythm of manifestation. Learn to work with the forces that are infinitely more powerful than your individual will. The answer is natural magic. Not magic in the sense of fantasy or superstition, but magic in its original meaning. The art of working with natural forces to create change in accordance with will. The lunar cycle is the most accessible natural rhythm for manifestation work. Here's how to work with it scientifically and practically. New moon, planting, days 1 to 3. During the new moon, Earth's electromagnetic field is at its most receptive. The moon is dark, invisible. This represents the void. Pure potential before form manifests. Exercise. Choose one clear intention for this lunar cycle, 28 days. Write it down in present tense, as if it's already occurring. Sit in meditation for 15 minutes. Enter heart coherence using the technique from cycle 1. Feel the frequency of your intention as already real. Speak your intention aloud once, with conviction. Then release it completely. Plant the seed and walk away. Do not obsess over your intention. Do not check every day to see if it's manifesting. Trust the cycle. The seed is now planted in the quantum field. Waxing moon, nurturing days 4-13. As the moon grows in light, the electromagnetic energy is increasing. This is the time for action aligned with your intention. Exercise. Each day, take at least one physical action aligned with your intention. Practice your biofield clearing every morning. Maintain coherence throughout the day. Notice synchronicities and follow them. These are the green shoots emerging. Journal about insights, opportunities, or connections that appear. The key is aligned action, not frantic action. You're nurturing the seed, not digging it up to check its progress. Full moon, harvest and release. Days 14-16. The full moon is peak electromagnetic intensity. Emotions amplify. Subconscious material surfaces. This is when you harvest insights and release what's blocking you. Exercise, full moon release ritual. Sit outside under the full moon if possible. The light is important. Practice grounding and biofield clearing. Ask yourself, what needs to be released for my intention to fully manifest? Write down everything that surfaces. Fears, doubts, old patterns, limiting beliefs. Read the list aloud, acknowledging each item without judgment. Then safely burn the paper. Use a fireproof container. As it burns, visualize the smoke carrying these patterns into the atmosphere, where they're neutralized by Earth's field. Say aloud, I release what no longer serves. I harvest the wisdom. I am clear. Waning moon. Integration. Days 17 to 28. As the moon decreases in light, the energy is naturally contracting. This is not a time for new projects or pushing forward. This is the time for rest, integration, and preparation for the next cycle. Exercise. Reduce your activity level. Spend more time in reflection and meditation. Journal about what you learned during this cycle. Notice what manifested, even small things. Express gratitude for all progress. Prepare your intention for the next new moon. Beyond lunar cycles, you can work with Earth's field directly through elemental grounding. Morning elemental alignment. Earth element. Stand or sit with spine straight. Visualize roots extending from your body deep into the earth. Feel the stability, the support, the grounding force of the planet. Say internally, I am supported, I am stable, I am grounded. Water element. Visualize your body as water. Fluid, adaptable, flowing. Feel emotions moving through you without resistance. Say internally, I am flow, I am adaptability, I am emotional wisdom. Fire element. Visualize a flame in your solar plexus, your power center. Feel your will, your passion, your creative force. Say internally, I am power, I am transformation, I am creative fire. Air element. Focus on your breath. Feel the intelligence of air moving through your lungs. Feel clarity, perspective, mental spaciousness. Say internally, I am clarity, I am truth, I am infinite possibility. When you balance all four elements in your field, you create a stable foundation for manifestation that's aligned with the electromagnetic structure of reality itself. When you first start working with natural cycles, your conditioned mind will resist. You'll want to push forward during waning phases. You'll want to rest during waxing phases. This is your old programming trying to maintain control. Trust the cycle more than your habitual patterns. Keep practicing for 3 full lunar cycles, 84 days. By the 3rd cycle, you'll begin to feel the shifts in electromagnetic energy. You'll notice that action taken during waxing phases feels effortless, while the same action during waning phases feels like pushing a boulder uphill. This isn't belief. This is your biofield coming back into resonance with planetary intelligence. Now, before you rush off to start working with lunar cycles and elemental forces, there's one crucial mistake that 90% of people make when they first learn this material. And this mistake will sabotage everything you've learned today. All the coherence practices, all the biofield clearing, all the natural magic. We need to talk about it now, because if you don't understand this, you'll end up frustrated thinking none of this works. Let me show you what almost everyone gets wrong. Here's what happens. You learn about coherence. You learn about biofield clearing. You learn about working with natural cycles. And immediately, your mind goes into fix-it mode. You think, finally, now I have the tools to make my life change. Now I can force this manifestation to happen. So you do the coherence practice, but with the energy of desperation underneath. This has to work. I need this to change my reality. Please, please, please let this work. You clear your biofield, but you're frantically scanning for problems. What's wrong with me? What needs to be fixed? Why am I still stuck? You work with the lunar cycle, but you're checking constantly. Is it manifesting yet? Why isn't it here yet? Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Do you see what's happening? You're performing the techniques correctly, but your frequency is still broadcasting lack, desperation, control. And the quantum field responds to your frequency, not your technique. This error is so common because it's rooted in the deepest wound of human consciousness, the belief that you are separate from the creative power of the universe. The belief that you are a small, limited self that needs to convince a reluctant universe to give you what you want. From that paradigm, manifestation feels like manipulation. It feels like you're trying to hack reality, trick the universe, force outcomes through sheer technique. But that's not how this works. That's never been how this works. When you try to manifest from the energy of, I don't have this, so I need to get it, you're broadcasting separation, and separation creates creates more experiences of separation. Think about it. If you're doing a coherence practice while feeling anxious about whether it will work, your heart isn't in coherence. It's in anxiety. The electromagnetic field you're broadcasting is anxiety, not coherence. If you're clearing your biofield while believing you're broken and need to be fixed, you're imprinting your field with the frequency of broken, and the quantum field reflects that back to you. If you're working with the new moon while desperately hoping your life will finally change, you're planting a seed of desperation, not intention, and desperation grows more desperation. The techniques are tools, but if you're using them from the wrong consciousness, from the consciousness of lack, control, separation, they become sophisticated forms of resistance against what already is. You practice coherence not because you're broken and need fixing, but because coherence feels good, because it's your natural state, because you're remembering who you already are. You clear your biofield not because you're contaminated and need purification, but because clarity feels better than fog, because you're removing interference from your natural radiance. You work with natural cycles, not because you desperately need something to manifest, but because flowing with nature feels more intelligent than fighting against it. It's a subtle shift. It might even sound semantic, but energetically, it's the difference between broadcasting I lack and broadcasting I am, and that is the frequency that creates miracles. First, you discovered that the separation between quantum physics and spirituality was always an illusion. You learned about the EPR paradox and quantum entanglement, how Einstein accidentally proved that separation doesn't exist at the fundamental level of reality. The work of the Institute of Heart Math, showing that your heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than your brain, and that this field extends 3 feet outside your body. Dr. William Tiller's experiments at Stanford, proving that consciousness can alter the physical properties of matter in measurable, repeatable ways. The Schumann resonances, how Earth itself broadcasts at 783 Hertz, the exact frequency of human theta brainwaves, proving you're designed to be in resonance with planetary consciousness. This isn't mysticism. This isn't belief. This is peer-reviewed science published in legitimate journals. The evidence is overwhelming. Consciousness is the primary force in the universe, and matter is consciousness taking on temporary form. Second, you saw how energy self-care isn't a luxury. It's foundational medicine. You learned about your biofield as a measurable electromagnetic field that serves as the primary communication system of your body, how trauma, stress, and absorbed energies from others create corrupted files in your field that keep broadcasting old patterns. The 3 brains, cephalic, cardiac, and enteric, and how coherence between them increases manifestation power exponentially. How clearing your biofield daily is as essential as brushing your teeth, because your electromagnetic signature determines what you attract from the quantum field. Your biofield is not metaphysical, it's bioelectromagnetic, and when you learn to work with it consciously, you gain access to a level of healing and transformation that traditional therapy or positive thinking alone can never reach. Third, you learned practical protocols that you can begin applying today. The coherence practice, 15 minutes each morning of heart-centered breathing, combined with genuine appreciation to align your 3 brains and broadcast a unified signal. The morning biofield clearing, using visualization of golden light and grounding to clear old patterns and set your frequency for the day. The lunar cycle manifestation protocol, planting intentions at the new moon, nurturing them through the waxing phase, harvesting insights at the full moon, and integrating during the waning phase. The elemental alignment practice, balancing earth, water, fire, and air elements in your field to create stability and coherence with natural forces. These aren't just nice ideas. These are technologies technologies. And like any technology, they work when applied consistently and correctly. When you integrate these three dimensions, science, energy, and practice, you're not just learning theory. You're becoming a quantum literate human being. You're remembering how to navigate reality as consciousness itself, not as a separate observer trying to manipulate an external world. You're learning to work with the fundamental forces of nature instead of against them. You're learning to broadcast coherence instead of chaos. You're learning to align your personal field with planetary intelligence. This is the future of human consciousness. This is where science and spirituality stop being separate domains and become a unified understanding of how reality actually works. And you're at the leading edge of this transformation, not because you're special or chosen, but because you were ready for this information, because some part of you, your higher self, your soul, your quantum essence, has been calling for this understanding. And now you have it. Now I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me, what was the biggest insight you had while watching this video? Was it the science of quantum entanglement, the understanding of your biofield, the realization that you've been forcing instead of allowing? And here's the more important question. Which of these practices are you going to start today? The coherence practice, the biofield clearing, working with the lunar cycle. I read every single comment and I respond personally to as many as I can. Your insights don't just help you. They help the thousands of other people who are on this journey with you. When you share your experience, you contribute to the collective field of awakening consciousness. So don't just consume this information passively. Engage with it. Share your truth, ask your questions, tell your story. And if you apply these practices for 30 days and come back to report your results, the synchronicities that appeared, the shifts that occurred, the manifestations that landed, you might just inspire someone else to take the leap. Your testimony could be the thing that changes someone's life. If this content resonated with you, if something inside you said, yes, this is what I've been looking for, then subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Every single week, I release new videos that dive deep into quantum physics, consciousness science, energy medicine, and practical spirituality. We explore topics like how to reprogram your subconscious mind using biofield technology, the hidden science of manifestation that most law of attraction teachers miss, advanced energy hygiene protocols for empaths and sensitive people, how to work with your ancestors' electromagnetic imprints to heal generational trauma, the neuroscience of awakening, what actually happens in your brain during spiritual transformation. This channel is for people who refuse to choose between science and spirituality. It's for people who want truth, wherever that truth leads. It's for people who are ready to become conscious creators instead of unconscious reactors. If that's you, join us. This is just the beginning of your journey into quantum literacy and conscious manifestation. And here's how you can contribute to the awakening of collective consciousness. If you know someone who's been struggling with manifestation, someone who's tried everything but still feels stuck in old patterns, share this video with them. Send them the link right now. If you know someone who's interested in quantum physics but hasn't connected it to practical spirituality yet, they need to see this. If you know someone who's deep into energy work but craves scientific validation for what they're experiencing, this video will bridge that gap for them. Every time you share this content, you're not just helping one person, you're creating a ripple effect in the collective field, because when that person understands these principles and begins broadcasting coherence instead of chaos, they affect everyone around them. Their family feels it, their co-workers feel it. The electromagnetic field they broadcast touches hundreds of people every single day. So sharing this isn't just a nice gesture, it's an act of service to the evolution of consciousness itself. And if you want to go even deeper, if you're ready for the advanced protocols, watch the next video that's appearing on your screen right now. In that video, I reveal the science of timeline shifting, how to use coherence and biofield technology to literally jump from one version of reality to another. We go into Dr. Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, and I show you the practical technique for navigating between parallel timelines. The journey doesn't end here. This video was just the introduction. distraction. The real transformation happens when you dive deeper and actually apply this knowledge consistently. So choose your next step and keep going. The quantum field is waiting for your coherent signal. Lembrisi, you're not here by accident. The fact that you found this video, the fact that you watched it all the way to the end, the fact that these concepts are resonating with something deep inside you, none of that is random. That's quantum entanglement. That's your consciousness recognizing truth in the field and collapsing the probability wave that brought you here. You didn't find this video. This video found you because you're ready, because it's time, because your higher self has been orchestrating synchronicities to bring you exactly the information you need for your next level of evolution. And if you're feeling activated right now, if you're feeling energy moving in your body, if insights are flooding in, if you suddenly see your life from a completely new perspective, trust that. That is real. That's your biofield recognizing resonance with truth. Here's what I need you to understand at the deepest level. You have within you the power to change your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you change your reality. Not metaphorically, not eventually, immediately. The quantum field responds to your broadcast signal in real time. You are the creator of your experience, not because of your thoughts alone, not because of your beliefs alone, but because of the coherent electromagnetic field that you broadcast when you align your consciousness, your emotions, and your body. You can shift from one timeline to another. You can release old patterns that you've carried for decades. You can clear trauma from your biofield that you inherited from your ancestors. You can align yourself with the intelligence of Earth and cosmos and begin manifesting in ways that will seem magical to people who don't understand the science. This isn't fantasy. This is physics, quantum physics, bioelectromagnetic physics, the physics of consciousness itself. And now you have the knowledge. Now you have the tools. Now you have the understanding. The universe is waiting for you to vibrate at the frequency of what you truly desire, not from desperation, not from lack, but from the overflowing abundance of knowing who you really are. So start today. Start now. Do the coherence practice this morning. Clear your biofield before bed tonight. Check the lunar calendar and plant your intention at the next new moon. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for more information. Don't wait until you feel ready. The quantum field doesn't respond to readiness. It responds to signal, and your signal is being broadcast right now. The only question is, what frequency are you choosing to broadcast? Until then, stay in coherence. Stay in consciousness. Stay connected to the infinite field of possibility that is your true nature. Remember, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. You are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that creative power, becoming conscious of itself. And now that you know this, now that you understand the science and the energy and the practice, there's no going back. There's only forward. There's only evolution. There's only the quantum leap into the version of you that you've always been becoming. The field is listening. What are you broadcasting?